ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we are continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Verse 11. न निष्कृतैर उदितैर ब्रह्मवादिभिः तथा विशुद्ध्यत्यघवान् प्रतादिभिः यथा हरेर्नामफलैरुदाहृतैः तदुत्तमश्लोकगुणोपलम्बकम्. By following the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or undergoing atonement, sinful men do not become as purified as by chanting once the holy name of Lord Hari. Although ritualistic atonement may free one from sinful reactions, it does not awaken devotional service. Unlike the chanting of the Lord's names, which reminds one of the Lord's fame, qualities, attributes, pastimes, and paraphernalia. So clearly, this verse is saying what is the intent of chanting, or what does chanting achieve? It awakens devotional service. How? By chanting the Lord's names, one gets reminded of the Lord's fame, qualities, attributes, pastimes, and paraphernalia. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord has special significance that distinguishes it from Vedic ritualistic ceremonies of atonement for more severe, or most severe sinful actions. There are 20 types of religious scriptures called Dharma Shastras, beginning with the Manu Samhita and Parashara Samhita. But herein it is stressed that although one may become free from the reactions of the most sinful activities by following the religious principles of these scriptures, this cannot promote a sinful man to the stage of loving service to the Lord. So, our concern is just not getting rid of the sinful reactions, but to actually develop loving service to the Lord. So, for devotees, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is anyway atonement. Anyway takes care of destroying the sinful reactions, but that's only a side effect or the side goal that gets achieved automatically. But the real stuff is to actually come to the stage of loving service to the Lord. On the other hand, chanting the holy name of the Lord even once not only frees one immediately from the reactions of the greatest sins, but also raises one to the platform of rendering loving service to the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is described as Uttama Shloka because he is famous for his glorious activities. So we discussed this. This is the Nama Bhasa chanting without Nama Aparada. So frees one immediately from the reactions of greatest sins. Of course, we also saw that still a devotee might undergo suffering as a special mercy of the Lord to overcome anarthas, which he is himself not able to overcome. Sincere soul wanting to overcome certain anarthas, struggling, then the Lord will bestow mercy in the form of some suffering with the intelligence given to the devotee that this is the cause for the suffering. And the devotee then takes it as a mercy of the Lord, and by his mercy overcomes the anartha. Mm. Yeah, and that is why Krishna says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So Krishna will give devotees the intelligence to also understand the reason for the suffering. um, yeah, and then gradually as anarthas go, then one comes to the stage of rendering loving service to the Lord. Thus one serves the Lord by remembering his form, his attributes and pastimes. So this loving service has can manifest in different ways. One one form or one way of thinking of loving service. Mm, okay, maybe we'll open it up for discussion. What do you think is mm, comes under loving service? From a practical, I'm not talking philosophy. Just from a practical perspective, what all do you think can come under loving service and what doesn't come under loving service?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that Pranam Prabhu. So I
Mm,
think chanting in general, I think it comes under loving service, number one, and then offering uh, food, foodstuffs to the Lord, right?
okay.
That is one, and then offering whatever the result of your fruitive activity, right, for the propagation of Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
uh, doing service very attentively with all
Okay.
attention.
Nice. Okay. Attentively. Yeah. Anything else? Others?
Hare Krishna, taking that
Yeah.
attention.
One. Yeah. Vanishi Mataji.
Yeah, like we show the affection or bhava, like how we show our children.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Kameshwari Mataji.
So we are about to tell the same thing, like we should
Okay.
think that they're exclusively dependent our home deities or whatever we are playing at home. They are exclusively dependent on us, and just like how we take care of our children, they should
Okay.
be taken
Okay.
care.
Okay. Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, serving the pure devotees of the Lord, rendering the devotional
Okay.
service.
Serving pure devotees of the Lord. Okay. Specifically, I was asking about direct service to the Lord. Yeah. That is also fine. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Prabhuji,
Mm-hmm.
even though the service may be um, very difficult for us to perform,
Mm-hmm.
still because to please the Lord, you
Mm.
take that endeavor and
Yeah.
do to the best.
Yeah. Okay. So the beginning of loving service is to know what Krishna wants. Right. First of all, we have to know what Krishna wants, and do it with full heart. Mm. Irrespective what the service is. Yeah. Whether it is easy, whether it is difficult, whatever it is. So know what Krishna wants, and how do we know what Krishna wants? Um, Through the medium of Guru. So Guru tells us what Krishna wants, and we have to just submit ourselves to doing that service. Now, in doing loving service, yeah, so one is thinking of there as children, but that's not necessary because that's just one bhava, that's Vatsalya bhava. So, whatever be the bhava, every devotee should start with dasya, first mode of dasya. Right? Dasya means doing service very like Jayamaraja Mataji said, attentively, meticulously, with great attention, with attention to detail. um, Many times I've seen, for example, there is a cloth. I'm going to give some practical examples so for devotees to understand. Say, suppose say we have a so we have a we have a table cloth, whatever, right? We are using it in the altar or for the deities, etc. Now, we might look at okay, is the garland nice? The garland offered, okay, we're offering nice garland, yes, but the cloth is soiled. Cloth is crumpled. There's some stains. Now, this is also loving service, attention to detail. Every aspect of the service we should think and see whether actually is it first class. Prabhupada always used to say this, service means first class. It should be first class. And first class service will come only when we are looking at the Lord with, that I'm your servant and I want to serve you very lovingly. Just like servant serves his master. Of course, nowadays people serve for money, but so thinking, for example, mm, say we are offering bhoga and say mm, we are somehow same items are repeating, you know, for whatever reason, different devotees are doing, but same items are repeating. Or so then these things are we have to see. Oh, what is this? I mean, So simplest way to think about loving service is to first start thinking about Krishna as a person, right? And see, okay, have I offered the similar flowers? Have I offered similar kind of clothing? Have I offered similar bhoga and everything else, right? Like just thinking of him as a person and wanting to please the person, supreme personality of Godhead. Right? It's very, very important actually. So it's not just mechanical service. Okay, even if it means I've seen some devotees, for example, say we are distributing prasadam, right? See devotees actually not having the mood that this is Krishna prasadam. It just looks like some wedding or some program, some function distributing food. Why? Because we don't have the consciousness that it is actually mercy of Krishna. Krishna has accepted it, and we have to treat it that way and distribute that mercy. And it has to be, and everything about Krishna is non different from Krishna. So that prasadam is also as is non different, right? Has to carry the same importance. Sometimes prasadam falls. So somebody is serving prasadam to our plate, and prasadam falls in front of our plate. What will we do? I've seen so many devotees, they will, okay, some devotees are so, their consciousness is very, very poor. So they don't even bother whatever rice is just there and people are stamping it. And this is first level of consciousness. Second level of consciousness, devotee will move that all that rice that was fallen to one side, closer to his plate or something, so that nobody stamps on it. The third, the best is for the devotee to see that prasadam is not different from Krishna and his mercy, and take it and put it into his own plate and honor it. Right? So this is loving service. I mean, loving service means every aspect of Krishna consciousness we should have that proper understanding and attention, affection, all of that. Anyway, I'm just giving some practical because I see these things in as devotees do service, etc. Right? So uh, in our center, for example, we say that people who are wearing pant and shirt, who are not wearing Vaishnava clothes, should not enter the altar. It's very simple. No, we are worshipping only photos. Right? Some devotees might think, what is this? We are not worshipping deities. Why? And because we are, this is the training. If tomorrow, if somebody has to worship deities, we don't have to start training from scratch. They already know so many things that we should ideally be following. Like that, and we know that the Lord doesn't like these things. I mean, He doesn't like us to come in Western clothes or non-devotional clothes. And now, loving service doesn't mean that no, it's okay. Krishna will accept anything. Now, I've heard this. Oh, we have Gaurnitai at home. They will accept anything. They don't take offense. No, but just think about this statement. What do you think about this statement? I want to hear comments. Gaurnitai will accept anything. They don't take it offensively. What is the mood of this devotee who is saying this?
Negligence, Prabhu.
Negligence, taking for granted. So the intent is not to please Krishna at all. There is no intent to please Krishna. The intent is somehow do something so that, and get done with your seva. And then if somebody comes and says, Prabhu, this is not high standard, you say, it's okay. They will accept. We don't even have the mood, mindset to say, oh, is it? Okay, how do I improve this? And this is just, that is why our Krishna consciousness, though it looks very, very simple, right? Moving from Vaidhi Bhakti to Raganuga Bhakti requires, all these practical application. Looking at, that's why Prabhupada so many times hammered this point. Krishna is a person, Krishna is a person, Krishna is a person. Whether he comes as Gaurnitai or somebody else, it's just maybe it's his mercy, not maybe. It's his mercy that he doesn't take offenses too seriously, but that doesn't give us license to offend or do shoddy service. Because that's not loving service. That's Actually, not even Vaidhi Bhakti, because in Vaidhi Bhakti, people are very, very frightened of following rules. So they will do it nicely. We are neither doing Raganuga nor are we doing Vaidhi properly. So we should understand that we should try to do this with loving mood, understand, talk to those devotees who know how to worship the deities properly. Don't think that, okay, it's house deities, so somehow I will just, do whatever is possible. House deities means the only exception can, at least in my books, is that if in case we are not able to do something at the highest standard, okay, ask, beg for forgiveness as an exception, not as a routine, right? And of course, I mean, in our Sampradaya, Krishna is never alone. Krishna is with Radharani. And we try not to go near Radha Krishna till we are completely pure. Best is photo worship. And even in photo worship, there shouldn't be negligence. There should be, yeah, it's just giving that attention, affection, love. Mm, So that is how we will develop. See, the whole idea of Pancharatrika Vidhi is not some mechanical, taking some agarbatti in front of the Lord. It is to understand that Krishna is a person. Now I have so much attachment to my material body and my clothes and my look and this and that and all that. Let me dovetail all that to Krishna. Let me move that to Krishna. Let me do all these things in connection with Krishna, so that then I will, my own attachment to my own body and this one will reduce. That is the idea of Pancharatra, of deity worship. But for that, we have to pay attention. We have to look at Krishna as a person, right? And go into all details. For example, sometimes say those devotees who are offering clothing to the Lord, they offered something and the flowers are not matching at all being offered. Now that's not nice, isn't it? Because when we dress ourselves, we are always fully, matching and this and that and all that. It should be the same thing with the Lord. Actually, it should be more with the Lord than with us. Or the flowers looking nice, even with the clothes that have been offered to the Lord. All these things are attention to detail. Then it shouldn't become like, oh, devotee. So people who are doing flowers will say, no, no, the people who are offering dress to the deities should see what flowers we are making. Or, it's not about tutu meme between different teams. It's about jointly somehow coming together, making sure that the service will be nice and the Lord will feel happy at the end of it. So this requires a lot of, energy, enthusiasm, and determination to please the Lord. Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya. And thus one serves the Lord by remembering his form, attributes, and pastimes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this is all possible simply by chanting the Lord's holy name because of the Lord's omnipotence. So this marga is there. This is a Bhagavata Vidhi, Shravanam Kirtanam. But yeah, Prabhupada generally said Grihasthas are too attached materially, so it's good if they engage in deity worship. But if somebody is able to see progress by just simply chanting Hare Krishna, then we don't have to worry about, deity worship. But if you can do it, it is nice. Especially if there's a requirement, temple center, if there's need for devotees to take care of the service, etc., then we can do. But we shouldn't think that without doing that, we will not make progress. No, that's not true. What cannot be achieved through the performance of Vedic rituals can easily be achieved through the chanting of the Lord's holy name. To chant the holy name and dance in ecstasy is so easy and sublime that one can achieve all benefits of spiritual life simply by following this process. Now, of course, I mean, this chanting and dancing also has some guidelines. His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj has written a book on Kirtan standards. So which is very, very important to be followed. So for everything, there is etiquette. For dancing, there is Vaishnava etiquette. Not like I see sometimes devotees like, in South India, you would see some followers, worshippers of Devi. They will have certain kind of dance, which is like a Rajoguna, Tamoguna kind of dance. And I see similar devotees, similar dancing in a similar way in front of deities. But Vaishnavism is not low class. Vaishnavism is the highest class. Hmm. So while there is chanting and dancing also, but there is also some what is the right word? Some standards, or so actually it's not sophistication, but a class. There is a class to whatever we are supposed to do in Vaishnavism, right? Because it is worship of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declares, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Most successful Sankirtana movement we have started offers the best process for becoming purified of all sinful reactions and coming immediately to the platform of sinful spiritual life. So, see, this is also very nice actually. If somebody is engaged in Sankirtan continuously, right, then they should be purified. If they are not purified, then they are not doing Kirtan. Then they are doing singing of something. So Kirtaniyas who are actually actively singing, doing Sankirtan, and also similarly for preachers, there is the proof that they are actually doing their service with the right mood, with the right consciousness. It will be shown in terms of how pure they have become in their life. How pure, how much Vaishnava qualities have developed. All these are an indication of the right mood of service. Other things are all absolutely, yes, it is all supportive services, but these are direct services which are very powerful, right? Because Shravanam Kirtanam is our primary process, and whoever engages in Shravanam Kirtanam, be it Hare Krishna Mahamantra or doing glorifying the Lord in terms of Shastra, if we are doing with the right mood, then we should see ourselves becoming purified, and very quickly, right? Immediately. Not that, it's just moving very slowly. That is the reason why, sometimes I push devotees who have the ability to, either take up preaching aggressively, or book distribution. Book distribution is also Sankirtan, or Kirtan, singing, right? So that actually we will become purified fast, quickly. And it's open to Matajis as well, right? You can also go distribute books. You can also preach, also, right? So these things are there. So for us to make quick progress. Okay. Let me read from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The name is described in 2 verses as most excellent, even for acting as atonement for the greatest sins. Brahmavadivihi means Manu and others. Nama Padaihi means just by some indications of the name, such as calling out the name of a son. Or it can mean a single inflected word indicating the Lord. In that case, the plural is used to indicate respect. This means that the word may have meaning or not. The name should be chanted through the mind, though the mind may be attentive or not. He may be sinful without even following karma or other scriptural processes. And not only does the name uproot sin completely, one realizes the Lord's qualities, beauty, powers, and sweetness. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is talking about different types of namabhas. You can do without attention, with attention, um, whatever, even with slight disrespect. We saw faithless namabhasa, even with slight disrespect, it gives you liberation. But yeah, we want bhakti, we want prema, for which we have to come to the platform of Shuddha Nama. And that means that we have to give up sinful life. Then we have to give up, we have to stop Nama Pradas. And then we will come to the platform of Shuddha Nama. And then, which means we will achieve Krishna Prema. Or another meaning is as follows. But how can grave sins which are destroyed only by great austerities and vows be destroyed by casual chanting of the name? Casual chanting, this faithless namabhasa, right, that we talked about, stoba, hela, parihasya, all that is casual chanting of the name. How can it destroy sinful reactions, grave sins, not just some particular sins, all sins, gravest of gravest sins. So he's saying the name indicates the power of the Lord having great fame. The name removes great sin because it is the name of the most powerful Supreme Lord. So we don't have to have any doubt about the power invested in the holy name. And yeah, so again, just summarizing our discussion. So we should just try to avoid namaprad and sincerely try to chant the holy name, and we will make progress. Okay, verse 12. Naikantikam tadhi krite piniskrite मन पुनर्धावति चेदसत्पथे तत्कर्म निर्हारम अभीप्सताम हरेर गुणानुवादः खलु सत्वभावनः. The ritualistic ceremonies of atonement recommended in the religious scriptures are insufficient to cleanse the heart absolutely, because after atonement one's mind again runs towards material activities. Consequently, for one who wants liberation from the fruitive reactions of material activities, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra or glorification of the name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord is recommended as the most perfect process of atonement, because such chanting eradicates the dirt from one's heart completely. Again, it has to. We have to become purified by this process. Bhagavatam says, Shrunvatam Swakatah Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanah Pradyantasthoi Bhadrani Vidunoti Surut Satam. Sri Krishna, who is the super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So very, very important words. One has to relish the message. Punyashravana Kirtana, and it is the most pious activity. Virtuous. But when Prabhupada is saying properly heard and chanted, here Shloka doesn't say it properly, but Shravana Kirtana basically means properly only. Any act of devotion should be done properly. This is a special mercy of the Supreme Lord that as soon as he knows that one is glorifying his name, fame, attributes, he personally helps cleanse the dirt from one's heart. And this personally helping is very, very important to understand, right? He personally helps, meaning just like if it is done properly, then naturally there will be cleansing of the heart. But in spite of that, if there are anarthas, then he personally gets involved and fixes the devotee. Because he's engaged in glorification, he's engaged in spreading the name, fame, glories of the Lord. So the Lord also wants his devotees to be pure, so that the effect of their preaching or their service will also become very enhanced, right? Because the more purity we have, the more powerful our preaching will be. So the Lord wants us to be cleansed, to be clean, so our hearts to become clean. So he personally helps cleanse the dirt. So this is the special mercy of the Lord. That's why Krishna says that those who are engaged in glorification of my activities, like I again said, Kirtanam, book distribution, Nagar Sankirtan or Sankirtan, and preaching, all of these are glorifying the name, fame, attributes. Of course, even chanting is glorifying name, fame, attributes, even honoring prasadam is. But Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, one who does this, spreading the message, he is most dear to me. So Krishna will personally take care. So we don't have to feel bad. The opportunity is available for everybody. Everybody can go out and preach. Everybody can go out and distribute books. Therefore, simply by such glorification, one not only becomes purified, but also achieves the results of pious activities. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Simply by such glorification, one not only becomes purified, but also achieves the results of pious activities. But we don't want the results of any pious activities. We just want glorification of the Lord for his pleasure. And he will, and by that process, we will get purified. Punya Shravana Kirtana refers to the process of devotional service. Even if one does not understand the meaning of the Lord's name, pastimes, or attributes, one is purified simply by hearing or chanting of them. Such purification is called Sattva Bhavana. One's main purpose in human life should be to purify his existence and achieve liberation. For us, even if we don't want liberation, we have to come to the stage of Brahma Bhuta, which is purity of existence, which means that not living on the material platform and not having all these anarthas, anartha nivritti. So we have to purify our existence because otherwise we will not get Shuddha Bhakti. As long as one has a material body, one is understood to be impure. In such an impure material condition, one cannot enjoy a truly blissful life, although everyone seeks it. That is why we might be doing bhakti, but we are not, we cannot experience a truly blissful life because there are still impurities. And devotee becomes prasannatma when he comes to this Brahma Bhuta stage. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhet. Tapo divyam, divine austerity. Tapasya is for divyam, only for progressing in transcendence, not for some material outcome. We don't do austerity, fasting and all that for something material. It's just all for making progress on the spiritual plane. One must perform tapasya to purify his existence in order to come to the spiritual platform. The tapasya of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, and attributes of the Lord is a very easy purifying process by which everyone can be happy. And this tapasya, for example, just eating prasadam only, and you might be working at office and there's some party and so much of non-prasadam, which all looks very attractive, but you control yourself. It's tapasya, and Lord becomes very pleased that for my sake, honoring my devotees' words, this devotee has actually sincerely tried to prevent himself from getting succumbed into this, this one. So that is big tapasya. So every time you think stop yourself from eating non-prasadam, realize that it is tapasya, and Lord becomes pleased. Therefore, everyone who desires the ultimate cleansing of his heart must adopt this process of glorifying the name, fame, attributes. Other processes such as karma, jnana, yoga cannot cleanse the heart absolutely. But this absolutely means without the propensities. So cleansing the heart means the propensities to sin have to go. And absolutely means without any chance of coming back. That happens only in bhakti. So now devotees also don't have to, think of doing some karma, jnana, yoga. Bhakti is all is a wholesome, is holistic, is absolute. Just we don't have to go and try to do anything else. Just simply do bhakti processes given paka. That's good enough. You don't have to do anything else. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Performance of atonement for 12 years is considered inferior to chanting the name. So sometimes one has to perform atonement for 12 years, not just one puja. Right? So it's very, very important. It's very, very important that we understand the power of the holy name. Since the mind pursues the path of sin after performing atonement, which does not completely purify the mind, for persons desiring complete destruction of karmas, constant chanting of the name and qualities after hearing them from someone is the real purification of one's existence, because it destroys all desires. Constant chanting actually literally means constant chanting. So yesterday I was talking to Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu, so he was saying previously devotees wanted to come to Nishta very quickly, because coming to Nishta can take multiple lifetimes. So previously the process used to be that some devotees who are like very, very bent upon reaching Nishta and achieving Krishna Prema in one life, they used to quickly come to 16 rounds, 32 rounds, 64 rounds, then multiples of 64, 64, 128, 192, etc. And then continuous chanting, nothing else. And they do it for some sufficient period of time, in which time everything gets cleansed. Everything is gone. All kachara is gone. So they come to Nishta. Then they will start experiencing bliss of Krishna consciousness, etc., etc. Right? But that is for those devotees who can surrender themselves to the holy name, and can just simply chant the whole day without requiring any other type of service. For example, we want variety, right? We can't just do chanting. Then we have to say, okay, I want singing also. Then I want to eat. Then maybe preaching, then reading, and this and that. But there might be some devotees who might be able to just stick to one anga of bhakti, which is just chanting, and they can achieve perfection. According to Amarkosha, the word anu means following after, following the great authorities. Why do you criticize? So question is being asked. Why do you criticize committing sin again after doing atonement? Because it's foolish. We can explain that this is similar to being bitten by a snake without any teeth, since it is caused simply by lingering impressions. No, that's not true. So if we atone and we do sin, it is a real sin. It's not like some impression. Our explanation of the name is valid because of statement saying that the name destroys all sins along with the desires. It's not simply imagination. How can you make your claim since there are no statements in the scriptures saying that atonement destroys all desires? And even in the exaggerated claims of Karma Kanda, one does not hear that atonement causes decrease of sinful desires. So anyway, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's style of writing purports is question and answer. So he will position himself as an opponent to bhakti and put some questions, refutes some claims, etc., and then answers it himself. So anyway, the crux of the point here is statement here is that atonement will not remove desires, but chanting Hare Krishna will remove desires and also the sinful reactions. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Okay, we can finish this one. Athainam maapanayata krita sheshagha nishkritam yadasau bhagavan nama niryamana samagrahit. At the time of death, this Ajamila helplessly and very loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord Narayana. The chanting alone has already freed him from the reactions of all sinful life. Therefore, O servants of Yamaraj, do not try to take him to your master for punishment in hellish conditions. Helplessly and loudly. The Vishnudutas, who were superior authorities, gave orders to Yamadutas, who did not know that Ajamila was no longer subject to tribulation in hellish life for his past sins. Although he chanted the holy name Narayana to indicate his son, the holy name is so transcendently powerful that he was automatically freed because he had chanted the holy name while dying. Ante Narayana Smriti. Krishna says, Yesham Twantagatam Papam Jananam Punyakarmanam. Te Dvanda Moha Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Dadaprataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. So this is Nishtha. This stage is a stage of Nishtha, where anarthas are gone. So sinful actions have gone, and free from delusion means anarthas have gone. And we come to Nishtha. So one can come to Nishtha only if his life is completely pure and devotional. Unless one is freed from all sinful reactions, one cannot be promoted to the platform of devotional service. Again, Brahmabhuta. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha. If one remembers Krishna Narayana at the time of death, one is certainly eligible to return immediately home back to Godhead. But what are the chances of one who has not remembered his name or not remembered him with love throughout his life to remember? Difficult, but then Krishna is so merciful that he will possibly send some devotees who will, chant around us at the time of our death. And of course, when we hear the name of Krishna, suddenly we remember Krishna. And so Krishna will somehow give us mercy, right? Provided we are sincere and we want it. And then he will give that mercy. So yeah, so that helplessly and loud chanting of the holy name Cleared everything. Because also commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Because of this, do not take Ajamila away. He has done unlimited atonements. This means at the time of naming his son Narayana from his first chanting, he accomplished all atonements. This was also done without any offense to the name, either previously or in this life. Because he was sinless, while dying, he also chanted the name. So this is the important thing. One cannot chant the name at the time of death unless they are sinless. Some people think that, no, it's okay. Somehow I will take the name at the time of death. No, that's not possible. One has to be sinless, or one at least should have very sincerely tried to become sinless in life. Very sincerely try to serve Krishna. Then also Krishna might give that benefit. That is up to him. We cannot say. If he had sin, how could he chant the name while dying? It is said in Gita, Yesham Tvantagatam Papam. Thus, by the appearance of the name or its non-appearance when dying, one can infer the absence of offenses to the name or the presence of offenses to the name. So, either the name will come or not come. If the name comes, that means that we have not, and there are no offenses to the name. So, this is very, very nice. Okay, so anyway, the important part is that we have to just keep trying, and wait for Krishna's mercy. Tattenu kampam susamikshamaano. In spite of all our life's difficulties, just go on chanting, go on with devotional service, completely depending, waiting for the Lord's mercy. That's what Brahma says. Waiting for the Lord's mercy. Don't go and demand mercy. Just wait for the Lord's mercy and go on suffering, but at the same time go on with your devotional service, and then we become a rightful heir, or it becomes going to Goloka becomes a rightful claim for us. Meaning it will happen. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any questions? No questions. Okay, then we'll close. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then pranam to everyone.